What is up, YouTube? This is Carlos Talamantes here with a Q&A video. A Q&A slash discussion video. And essentially, I just want to talk to you guys. I just want to talk to you guys. I just want to just answer a lot of frequently asked questions. The questions that I've just been getting that, like, you guys know, I appreciate you guys, but it is so hard for me to get to comments, when I'm working. I'm literally working 22 days, 23 days straight right now. I haven't had a day off in 13 days. So I'm halfway through it, or a little bit more than halfway through it, and it's peak season for us, so we're just going crazy every day. So money's going to be good for the kids and for Christmas though. So I'm grateful for that. Grateful, appreciate it. But yes, so all that to say, Q&A video. If I'm going to do more of these videos, and if you guys want to ask me whatever questions, drop comments down below, like the video, and I will make another video, maybe at the end of the week or next week. Just a whole bunch of different questions that I just having a hard time getting to. So, um, what really and also inspired this video too, aside from that, is I saw a very good comment, a very cool comment, because I strongly believe in helping people. I strongly believe in helping and just having the thought of, yes, I am the most competitive person to myself. If that makes sense. Like, it is always me versus me. It's not me versus anybody else. I am going to grind. I am going to try to win. However, when you try to put somebody else first, or when you try to go out of your way to help somebody else, you in turn can learn something from that. And then also it creates a selfless attitude, you know, to build somebody else up, and everybody wins. And so I want to really start doing these Q&A videos, and I want to actually do videos on helping people grow as a player and also a person. So all mixed in together. So what inspired me right here? uh, at Samuel Gonzalez Tovar 3936. He asked two questions, and this was about 11 days ago at the time of recording this video. And I have my computer up on the side right here, and I'm just reading these comments. Not going to be super organized, guys, but I'm just going to try to attack this the best way I can. He said, "So when I play with my friends, I feel like I bore them. Yeah, how long I take, even though I know that they don't mind how I get my train of thought out. They don't mind how I get my train. They don't know. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, can't tell. Even though they don't mind, how do I get my train of thought out? How do I get out of that? It says I feel like going the simple route to avoid that. So, very good question, bro. Sorry, I kind of jumbled that up. It has been a long day. I've worked so much. But, anyways, how you get out of that is just practicing so much on your combos to where you cannot get it wrong. It is so important to where you know that you know that you know these combos. If you are in a scenario where you have a hand, you have Stratos Ferris. Let me see this. Let me just do a couple of things. if you're if you have a hand with Stratos, Ferris, Dark Ruler, I don't know, Mass Change, I, whatever card, right? You want to practice this hand over and over and over again. And I know it takes effort. Heroes right now in this current time, it is not dead. It is still very strong. But let's be real. If you want to be good at anything, you need to put in the time, effort, and consistency. And I'm not just talking to you, bro. I'm talking to everybody, including myself. Because what happens is, we get frustrated, or we feel like we're inconveniencing people. But really, you're not doing things wrong necessarily. You're just a little out of practice. And looking at hands like this, you have to think like, okay, am I going to play around Imperm? Am I going to play around Valor? Am I going to normal summon this first? Or just different scenarios. You want to think of the card that your opponent might have, and you want to pretend that you're going to play around that. the best way you could. Now, I just tossed these cards together. You would obviously do things different ways, but you want to be able to practice your lines so many times to where you don't even have to think about it. You want to do it so much to where it's just muscle memory, because when you get into long tournaments or where you're just at your locals, it makes it to where you don't have to put that brain energy in, and you do things faster naturally. One of the things that I just really want to emphasize to people is this also helps in a multitude of different ways. When you do things so much, when you come across those same scenarios so many times over and over and over and over again, you don't go into time as much, because that I'm supposed to interact with this card at this point. You're supposed to reveal Ferris. You're supposed to banish the malicious at this specific time. Just my advice to you, bro, just practice so much to where you cannot get it wrong. Do the same thing even if it's boring. When you're at home and you just want to shadow play, shadow test, just run the same lines over and over again. Do it 10, 5, 10, 20 times over and over and over again to where it becomes boring. And it stops becoming boring when you notice that you're doing things, accurately. So even if you're just trying to save time, doing it repetitively, will help you move faster in that. So let's get on to another question. Yeah, and I appreciate your comments. Yeah. I was asked quite a few times, at least once every video, what sleeves do I use? I use Imperium Duelist the Pearl Whites. I really like them because they remind me of the old school PCs. Yeah, the PCs are different now from what they used to be. I think they went through new ownership, and I know they vanished for a while. I still like those. I still do like them, but ever since I got to the Imperium Duelist sleeves, I've just really, really enjoyed these, and so I just keep on buying them. And it turns out they're about an hour away from where I live where they get shipped from, and so I just appreciate it. And these sleeves are a little bit older now. Yeah, I'm waiting for my next regional to resleeve, which is this month. And these sleeves are still fairly pretty fresh too. That's why I also play on the spell ground, and why I wash my hands constantly, and it helps keep them fresh. But yeah, I play with the Imperium Duelist sleeves, the Pegasus Pearl Whites. I love them. It makes the cards really shine and pop. I don't know if you could like really see this. I gotta learn how to angle my videos better so that way I can get like better shine on the cards. Because I always end up coming across what's it called? I always end up getting this glare right here. So I gotta learn how to adjust that. If you guys know how I can possibly get sponsored by them, I would greatly appreciate that. I love your if Imperium Duelist, if you guys ever come across this video somehow, somewhere, or somebody tells you about it, I love your guys' product. I would love to be sponsored by you guys or work something out. Appreciate you guys. Okay. Another question that I got recently. Let's see where we're at. We're at 8 minutes. I gotta do multiple of these videos. Talking about the new format. The YCS Anaheim is this weekend. Technically, pre-reg is in about 2 days. So, I want to talk about a few cards also, as well as still go over some more questions about cards that I like in this upcoming format in general. Also, as you can see, I have the Dark Fusions right here. I am going to talk a lot more about the Evil Hero stuff when it gets closer to that time of release for the TCG. I really, really, really like the Evil Hero support. I think it offers a whole new dimension of plays, and I feel like it's really going to show a lot of the skill cap for a hero player. I think a lot of people will get wins overall, but the people who put in the time, effort, and consistency will definitely be rewarded. And that just goes for anything. If I don't put in the time, then can't expect to see good results, right? So if I don't put my time in the gym, then I can't expect to build muscle. So um, I feel like with the Evil Hero stuff, it's just going to be so much easier and a lot more fun, to be honest. Just having so many different routes. I am definitely, Definitely looking forward to it. Shout out to you, Roll. um, okay, so wanted to talk about a few cards too that I like in the upcoming format. Um, Now, there's so many good options, and there is a way. I know it gets overwhelming when it comes to new support cards, when it comes to um, just new releases and trying to figure out new strategies against them and trying to understand how your cards interact with them. But there is always a way. There really is. And this is just a couple of cards that I think can be very useful. So one is D-Force. I've been playing this a lot lately, and I really like it. Let me give you a couple of reasons why I do really like it. So one, this plays around Dominus Impulse. Now the format is changing, but we still have fire decks. So this plays around Dominus Impulse. The reason why that's so important as well is because when you get impulsed on your poly, when you get impulsed on your mass change, when you get impulsed on, I believe they can still hit your increase or whatever. Like there's just so many ways for them to just screw you over and just mess you up, and just being able to play around cards like Impulse and also Furalos, this ends up being really good. Now, you can always name that scenario where, like, well, what if they have this? What if they have that? Bro, they're, if they have it, they have it, Like, it's so hard to really account for everything right now, especially in this game. Like, you have a Six Samurai deck that had got amazing support, but has not really seen any real tops right now. And yeah, like that deck, if it goes first, it can still blow you out. And so there's so many decks to account for. It's just impossible right now to really account for everything. However, one of the other reasons why I really like this is because it's amazing against Ryzel. It really is. Like when you get hand trapped to death, you if you can manage to get three bodies up on the board, this will just shut them out big time, because they can try to send aggregator to negate your plasma, but this will stop them from targeting it. And that is one of the key things, because even if you get rid of their monsters, they can still bring it back, and they can still re-equip things or reattach things, and you just want to be able to avoid stuff like that. So stopping their targeting, especially with detonator and everything, it's super huge. They literally can't out it at all. So I think this is a really, really strong card, especially against decks like Malice, who um, against decks like Malice, who doesn't really care about your Dark Claw. Having an alternate one condition is very, very nice. Also, along with that, was there's so many hand traps going around right now, right? And I just feel like Talents is just such a strong card again. Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard because for a moment I took this out because Dominus Impulse and Imperm and stuff like that, was just so like, this was before Malice release and things were a little bit different. Format was shifting a little bit in deck choices, and it's like, man, I really don't want to get caught with this card, even though this is one of my favorite cards. I really don't want to get caught with it. When they impulse me, then imperm me, or vice versa. And so I was forced to take it out or just leave one in so I could get it off a thrust. But I feel like it's changing now, especially with the rise of the Fiendsmith hand trap deck. Before the Malice stuff came out, they played a lot of monster hand traps, and so that was really big at the European YCS. Now you add in Ryzeal and everything else, this card becomes a lot better. And also, worst case scenario, when they try to stop you from stop the destruction, you just take their monster, right? So that's one amazing way to get around stuff like that. Then, so I wanted to talk a little bit about Dark Angel. I was liking this card more and more. The more and more I was thinking about this format. Now, one of the things that I think is solid against Malice, and I think it's solid against Razil. So one thing that really stops me from wanting to is the fact that they can send it to summon. There's just a whole bunch of inherent summons. I think this is going to be amazing with Gozin and Rivalry specifically. And I think Gozin is very strong in a lot of matchups right now, and it's something to think about if you decide to play this Dark Angel. Now you have two floodgates to draw into when you want this option. So going on with the other thing was Mastering Second. Along with Mastering Second, I wanted to talk about these, right? So I personally like triple mass change right now, especially because like there's so many targeting hand traps and targeting cards in general. Being able to dodge things as well as resolve your cards is just huge right now. There's so many hand traps. I feel like this is a must, especially with cards like Furalos. And if people do start playing Lancia, you need to be able to get rid of that because it stops your maliciouses, it stops your miracle, stuff like that, and it makes life a lot harder, which you wouldn't really think about in the beginning. But being able to banish, get rid of Lancia, get rid of Shifter and stuff like that, that's huge. So and also I really like this because I don't want to cut this down because there's so many hand traps. And then if you do get Feralos and you do open it, you want to be able to at least set it and then use it on their turn, which is really good. And you minimize the draws. So Thrust is one of the best weapons that we have right now. I just feel like it's just so strong. I feel like being able to get cards like D Barrier, it's just so huge. Thrusting in, like using all their hand traps against them. It's like, okay, yeah, you open up 4 hand traps, but I have Thrust and I'm about to D Barrier, the Ryzeal player, Call Exceeds, and it's just really, really, really strong. I don't know about you guys, but I lose a lot of die rolls, and so being able to thrust into Fusion Destiny has always been good. So I think that's very, very strong right now. Another card is Imperm. I can't tell you guys how good Tactics is unless I talk about the other side of it. If I'm thinking that Tactics is going to be strong as well, you guys got to really think about Imperm because you want to be able to play around cards like Tactics and Thrust. These cards are obviously going to be very good, and you want to be able to play around that. You don't want to get bit by the same thing that you have the idea for. You don't want to get bit by, like, great minds think alike in general. And you want to be able to play around things like that and be able to hit like the duo drive and other monster floods. So that's important as well. Then also I wanted to talk about Book of Eclipse. Now, Book of Eclipse is in a very interesting position right now because in so many ways it can be really strong, and in other ways it can it could not be enough. However, with so many, like, it's kind of a gamble that I'm willing to take right now because it can solve many issues, but then it can suffer from other things. Because if this is your only board breaker, then it's not going to be enough. For one, it can potentially get hit by Ash, and then two, if they playing a deck and gets like that has an Azamina card in there, then they're going to be able to have a negate, and that's it. Like the last regional I went to in Santa Clara, a guy got 7th place with Infernoble, and he played the Azamina stuff in it, and this would have not stopped his combo at all, so or broke his board at all. However, this paired with something else can be very, very, very good. And so, but this is really something like you think about the detonator and stuff like that. You just book, and then you also think about the trap card that they have to immediately synchro or pop. You could just book it and it's all good. There's a lot of cool. I would just pair this with something else if you guys want to think about that further. So these are a few cards that I was thinking about. Another card is Nibiru. So one thing I wanted to just point out about Nibiru is that I personally would recommend playing this if I'd personally recommend playing this if you guys played multiple imperms or indoor veilers, because you want to be able to activate the nib and then also hit their negate with the imperm or veiler. That's just something that I think, because nib by itself, it's supposed to be good, but it's just you need to be able to stop that negate. all in all, yeah, I feel like heroes are still strong. I feel like we have a lot that we can get done. Yeah, a lot we can maneuver around. It just takes time, effort, and consistency and practice. It's important for us to keep on grinding. It's important for us to keep on testing. Don't get discouraged by just the release of everything. Heroes have been an outdated deck for so long, and it's like we still find ways to adapt and adjust. We need to find solutions instead of resonating on just the problems of the deck. We have help that's on the way, but we can figure this out. We have a lot of options and a lot of things um, that we could do, but I'm excited because there's a lot of more decks that I can just compete with and play against. There's more that I wanted to cover, but this video is already 21 minutes long. I'm going to make another Q&A video. I really enjoyed this. Next time I need to bring some water because my throat's running dry. But yeah, guys, drop a bunch of questions down below. I just want to be able to answer you guys and give you guys the proper appreciation that you guys deserve for the support and stuff. So drop a comment down below. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And remember, sometimes you're the only hero that somebody will ever see. So be a light to somebody. Be kind to one another. Have a good day.